Hello everybody, happy Wednesday, and welcome to GuildGab. I'm Peachy here with my good friends Inks, RPG Shack, Alex, person, and Corvus player. Alex person. Hey!
We haven't done this in a while.
It's been a while.
Nice to be missed.
It's been a while.
We're rusty.
Today we're going to chat about Guild Wars 2, especially the fact that Living World Season 3 is coming in less than 2 weeks. On July 26th, we are getting the Living World Season 3. And we got a trailer announcement. I'm calling it an announcement video. That showed, it was basically a recap of everything that happened in Heart of Thorns. And then we've got about, what, 5 seconds? About 5 seconds of new footage.
I think it was 5.9 seconds.
5.9 seconds of vague footage.
Yes.
And I know Inks, I both talked for an hour yesterday about those 5 seconds of footage, so we should be good.
Yes, that's right. Well, amongst all the, the articles and everything else that came out yesterday, the flood of information.
Dude, information and articles. We've gotten some stuff today. There was some stuff just released like an hour ago.
A new blog post.
A tiny journal entry.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I guess this is something that they're going to start doing. Timey's research at ArenaNet didn't really reveal much. It did tell us, though, that, and you guys can go and see this right now on guildwars2.com, and their Twitter account also put out an image. Timey is, she's actively working with no sleep. She says she hasn't slept in a week. Working at Radanovis, looking up information. She, like the blog post said, she's like, it should be called Data Novus because there's so much data here. And like, she's kind of going crazy from not sleeping. And, but really all that was revealed in it, and it's actually called like journal entry number 8. And all that we really got from it was that she said that the ley line energy is like kind of, she calls it alive. She says that it's not just like this static field, that it goes back and forth and moves around, and like it's almost like alive because it's kind of chaotic, and she doesn't know like what way it's going to go. But yet she doesn't know if it's that's supposed to be, or if that's not supposed to be, or if it's in chaos right now because of Mordremoth dying. So it was really interesting to think about those couple things. So it gets me excited for the story. I know I got really hyped just seeing those couple frames from the video.
Yeah, because I mean, the blog post here, the journal entry touches on a couple of things. Too, like Kaith, she talks about how she has a hypothesis about Kaith's wild hunt, which could be interesting. And then right at the end as well, she talks about how, it sounded like the gate was powering up. And then it's like, keep an eye on my journal to our little plant friend, and she'll be right back. So who knows what that could mean. Me and Ix were talking about it before the show briefly, and, maybe this could be the other Ratanovans or something, noticing that the magic's, been dispersed because we killed Mordremoth, and maybe they're coming back out of hiding or something. Who knows?
Yeah, there's this idea that not just Wooden Potatoes, but several people have put forward before that the Ratanovans, because there's no bodies in Ratanovus, there's no skeletons, there's no remains. It seems like, and if you follow the notes, etc., it seems like the Ratanovans escaped to somewhere, either a sub-level or a different site or wherever they are. And Timey talks about in her log entry there, she talks about while she wasn't with us, she wasn't with the commander, she knows that Mordremoth is dead because his bright light went out and all the other lights lit up or whatever the case is. If she can detect that on this map that was in Ratanovus, then you would think that the Ratanovans, wherever they are, could detect the similar thing. If they think that Mordremoth is gone and therefore his minions are not as dangerous anymore, they might think, oh, we can now go back to Ratanovus and get our data and whatever else has been lost to us over that time. So it adds a nice bit of speculation with the gate powering up, who's going to come through it and engage this restless Timey.
I mean, that kind of theory does almost sits very nicely alongside the title of this new episode. It's called Out of the Shadows. So it's certainly not the Pact coming out of the shadows, because we're sort of there, fresh off the kill of a dragon. So yeah, the Ratanoven's coming out of the shadows and going
Or the Mersat coming out of the shadows.
dun dun. All the White Mantle coming out of
The
it.
White
Oh, there's
Mantle.
Or the egg, break the dragon coming out of the dark egg.
what?
Corvus confirmed for narrative lead.
The dark egg, a good dang it. Or the mysterious. I think we've kind of given up.
I mean, E is
funny
just-
who he is.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We have a new mysterious Azura now. We don't need E anymore. He's old news.
That's
Yeah.
He or
Enough
she is
on
old
E.
news. We now have a new.
he is
Or
so
we're going to
season
be
one,
getting a new
guys.
one.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Right? He's, oh my gosh. All the way back to season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is a question of the timeline because
Right.
we have Heart of Thorns happening, and then they've said that Living World Season 3 is supposed to be happening like right after Heart of Thorns ends, but we've had these events out in the world, we've had the entire raid wing, which obviously is going to tie into Season 3. Obviously. Like, they've said
Right.
Season 3 is coming, and they showed an old picture of the White Mantle. So it's
that-
going to
that-
be related.
So that confused me quite a bit, right? Because I thought like, oh, who is this? And someone's like, oh, it's the White Mantle, and I'm like, no, it can't be the White Mantle. The shield is nothing like the White Mantle shield that we have in the game. It's like, well, it's an old art asset. They just didn't change.
Yeah.
They didn't update any of that, and I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, it was really strange. I mean, it could be like the White Mantle coming out of the shadows, but Raid Wing 3, we pretty much destroyed most of the White Mantle headquarters. I mean, is this army suddenly going to come out of somewhere, or it's very confusing to me.
I mean, unless there's something. Well, no, because the door of Kamali is sealed and Abaddon's been defeated. So unless it was Lazarus coming back out of the realm of torment or wherever it was he ended up. Oh, by the way, this is probably just me because I don't get to raid that much. But is anyone else slightly? I'm a little bit knocked off that there when the raids came out, it's like, oh yeah, the raid's going to be separate narrative and story to Living World Season 3, and now here we are.
Now it obviously is connected.
I
Yeah.
imagine, it's and this ties back into the timeline of where we're actually at in the timeline. Unfortunately, I think the way that it's possibly going to play out is there's been some downtime since Mordremoth's death because we've had current events, and I think when the story, when Out of the Shadows starts up, the question is going to be, at what part of the raid, at which raid wing is that the same as the start of the story? Because Raid Wing 3 leaves a clear impression about Lazarus and about his fate that both these articles, which leave an identical statement that they're after the Bloodstone to resurrect one of their gods. But Raid Wing 3 leaves you with this impression that that's over. They've already succeeded, you failed. And so, obviously, Wing 3 is further along in the timeline than whenever the Living World Season 3 is going to start, right? There's a time gap there that needs to be made up within the story, within the first couple of episodes or whatever the case is. So that's also pretty interesting. I would assume that there's going to be some kind of White Mantle crash course that we get in this Out of the Shadows, where they identify who the White Mantle are. Maybe they recap a little bit of what happened in the raid to kind of catch people up. Otherwise, it's going to feel kind of a bit disjointed for those who haven't raided or haven't watched those videos or haven't been inside the instance, etc.
And I think they're going to there's going to be this disconnect even for people who did do it. I think that it's going to be like a bonus. Like, there's stuff that goes on in the story in the background that we never see. We only just hear about it. Like Scarlet's whole, we saw through journal entries and stuff what she did, but we didn't actually see it happening. So to me, I think the Raid Wing, it's kind of like a bonus. Like, oh, you saw the White Mantle, like, doing this, you got to go to their headquarters and see this, but it's all going to be recapped. And like we've said before, you know, none of the Destiny's Edge 2.0, none of them are in the raid wing. It's not like, you know, you're missing story with them or anything. So I think there's going to be this disconnect, and they have to do some kind of like a recap in game of what happened in the raid wing, because it's obviously connected.
I think so, yeah. I just think that from what I've excuse me, from what I've seen of the raids and from what I've played of it, they're great. You know, the raids are cool beyond without a question of a doubt. They're really, really awesome. It's just that they're a lot more story rich than I was expecting them to be. Like there's a lot more going on, even if it's like kind of like passive storytelling the stuff you take in from the environment rather than, you know, going around and reading all the notes. And I think you can kind of recap that, and I would expect to see the cutscene after you kill Matthias to be played at the beginning of Living World Season 3 as well for that kind of recap.
Well, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because if it was its own story, then it would be this whole exclusive story, you know, that everyone else is missing out on because, you know, they're not raiding. But because it's tied in, they can kind of make it a pseudo story that, you know, you're not really going to be missing much if you don't raid.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they first announced it and said, you know, that the story was going to be kind of, you know, not super important and whatever else, I was expecting, like, oh, we killed Mordramoth, we should go clear out some of his big champions that are still around. And, you know, just going off into some area of the jungle, and there's not much context other than just kill these things, please. You know, and I agree with you, it was a lot more story-rich than I was expecting, like, given what they said. But I also think making it a kind of sub-story in the kind of current plot is better than having its own exclusive story that would actually be locking people out of stories.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know, it's interesting because the biggest takeaway from all of 3 raid wings is really the Lazarus at the end and this question of whether he's alive again or not. Everything else is sort of White Mantle filler, sort of catching up with the current state of the White Mantle, kind of where they've been, what they've been doing, and that sort of thing. I think that can be easily told within the story pretty quickly or fairly shortly without making it this long, drawn-out thing. And therefore, if you didn't do the raid, you're not missing a whole lot of information. You're just missing a little bit of, like, who was Zira and who was Matthias and who are these players that aren't the biggest cogs on the wheel anyway when it comes to the White Mantle. There's higher commanders above them and stuff. And obviously the White Mantle itself, as we start to learn from the current events that are happening in the open world, they're entrenched everywhere in the bandit society, I guess, if you want to call it that, right? So obviously there's probably other strongholds, there's other camps, there's other things going on with that are not necessarily important to the raid. The only really important takeaway for me, because they mention it, is that we find out that there's a good possibility that Lazarus has been resurrected and he's alive again.
Yes.
You don't see him or anything like that, but the both articles lead you to believe that their goal is to capture this bloodstone deep within the Maguma jungle somewhere. And then you'll have to fight them for it, or you'll be fighting over it because they want to resurrect their dead god. And they actually do say he was dead, which is kind of interesting as well. But we already know from the end of the raid he's probably not dead anymore. So we're going to be that's filling the backstory in.
I don't think there's anything in the raid that you're really going to miss out on if you don't raid, apart from that. Right. If that comes up, if that comes up in the story at any point, they can't just be like, oh, the Pact Forces found the thing, and it's like this super huge thing that ties back to Guild Wars 1, but like it's just in a cutscene. You know, it doesn't feel as impactful as it should. But maybe they just won't mention it. They won't mention the fact that they found it, and just at some point in Season 3, he'll appear, right? And so you'll go, oh, back in the raid we found this thing, but it just wasn't mentioned in the story that you found that thing or something.
Right.
That'd probably be the best way for them to have.
Or it could just be mentioned. It could be mentioned in passing by whoever else is out in the open world that's out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could be, maybe we encounter Lena in the open world outside of the raid, and she has something to say to us, like, "Oh yeah, you remember this, and here's all this information." That's not out of the question. That something like that could happen, and all that kind of stuff is actually voiced as well. You ask her a question, and then you actually ask her the question, and she responds with a verbal response. So it's an interesting bit of storytelling that they're going to encounter there. And this is just like all that we're talking about. The interesting part about this is one facet to a much deeper story that's going to be coming with Out of the Shadows. This is the White Mantle are just one part of all of the plot points that they start to touch on that was covered in these articles.
And we're going forward into the plot as well as tying up loose ends. Because they were very adamant about saying, there's a lot of loose ends to tie up. And I don't know, as much as I want new story, I really want a lot of those loose ends to at least be mentioned, at least be tied up. My fear is that for things like Timey, because we saw the Timey journal entry today, one of my fears is that there's things like that, like there's so much there's limitless information that could come out of whatever Timey's researching. Limitless information. Anything could come out of there.
Right.
And so it's my fear that they're going to steer away from that, and they're going to just keep it so vague that it doesn't mean anything. You know, or just give us the tiniest little tidbit of information. I mean, when we first got there, I know it was just surface information that Timey could access, but it was like, she gives us this bomb that, the dragons all have weaknesses, and you're like, well, tell us. She's like, well, I don't know what any of them are. And it's like they give you this bomb that doesn't mean anything, and then they don't, then you don't really get any real information. That's my fear for Timey, because I mean, the rest of the game, we could just sit there and run a Novus and, find stuff out. But that's not going to happen, so.
Right. And Timey starts to play an interesting part in that she is the dragon tie. The White Mantle and the egg, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and these they mentioned about a half dozen shorter story arcs that need to be tied up, or that will be tied up, like within Out of the Shadows. Timey that now becomes this dragon tie, because the story that we're getting with the Bloodstone, with this, with the dragon magic being released into the world, doesn't necessarily directly relate to dragons. Yeah. So we're not necessarily, as far as it seems like, as far as the direction that we're being pointed, we're not being pointed at a specific dragon yet. We're not going after Krakatorik right away, or at least it doesn't appear to be that way. And so Timey is kind of this tie-in. She's this reminder, like, hey, I did some dragon research on this. Hey, the dragon still exists. Hey, there's this information about dragons. You should come back and talk to me about the dragons so we can hunt some dragons.
If it wasn't for the stuff with Ratanovus and that potentially being a thing, like finding another city or something, I feel like she's just kind of been left there as a plot device. We'll deal with
it's more
the
like
White Mantle stuff.
Come in when it's convenient.
Exactly. Like, the White Mantle, quick, and then we'll have a little arc with them, and then just to loop it all back, they'll just go, oh, she made this discovery about this thing. Okay, and then it'll just start a new path. But if we do get that kind of like multi-layered story, right? So we've got, in one episode, we'll deal with the White Mantle for a bit, then we'll get an urgent call because something with the egg, and then, we're in Tarir, so we may as well go check on Timey because she's, not super far away. And then, it does this whole thing with Ratanovus, and we've got these kind of layers, and so each episode there's like 5 different story things to be excited about. I mean, that'd be really cool to me, but I feel like they're going to pace it out, and there's going to be kind of that kind of more simple focus on things, and she'll just be there to snap her fingers and, oh, look, we found this thing right at the end of the season, and oh, look, there's a new expansion about this dragon, because I'm just there kind of telling people to.
I think that
we'll see how it goes.
Well, the way that ArenaNet said they're going is that they want to push out larger bits of content every 2 to 3 months, as opposed to the 2-week model, which, surprise, surprise, turned out to be unsustainable. As much as we enjoyed, getting new content every couple of weeks, it was very ambitious. you know, fair play to them.
I think they did a fantastic job, despite
Oh yeah,
it being
absolutely.
very ambitious. But
There was also kind of I think there was an imbalance in the length. Like you can look at season 2 and there's episodes that are definitely shorter than other episodes. You know,
like both Dragon's Reach episodes just go on and on and on and on. There's so much content in them, and then you've got is it Echoes of the Past or
the one with Keith's memories. Like
Yeah.
it was interesting and a cool mechanic, but you just do that thing and then like the episode's basically over. And it didn't have that kind of proper presence in the story. And but with this thing, they can probably give us a good, maybe a couple hours of content every episode potentially. Should be really good. And if we get like a new map every time, then you know that's because I feel like with the 2-week thing, like it was so regular, but after the first like 3-4 days, you're kind of waiting for the next thing already.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just kind of bite size, and then you're still hungry. But with this, they can give us like sit us down, give us a proper meal.
Well,
I'm hungry.
I think that if what we're talking about is that, you know, potentially we're going to be going to Ratanovus as part of the Out of the Shadows, then we'll certainly be kind of like hanging around a lot in Tangled Depths for the first part of it.
Yay!
Yeah.
I really don't think we're going to go to Ratanovus. I think we're going to communicate with Timey through holograms and that kind of thing.
Yeah, dude.
Unfortunately, as much as I want to go back to Ratanovus, I'm not. I think we're going to delve deeper into...
I mean, we might stop. We might stop
north.
by because the egg seems like it's going to play
Right.
pretty critical role within the first story. It's interesting the way. Part of me feels like this is a mistake, but you know, what do I know? They tease at you this idea, and it's not necessarily a new idea, but it's not an idea that ever had a real foundation until the articles start talking about this point of contention that the egg may no longer be our ally. It was our ally. It was giving us powers. It was giving us visions on Mordremoth and how dangerous he is and what his plans are. But it has now consumed some of the dragon's magic, which may or may not have tainted the egg, and that's their words, not mine. And that the egg, you know, Lint's baby, which they sort of confirm it's a dragon inside, or that it's her baby inside. That you know, it may or may not be friendly with the mortals of Tyria anymore. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've had hints like, oh, is it even a dragon, or maybe her legacy means something more and is like kind of more of a, I don't know. And then we've got that whole thing with the dragon might not be our friend, or it might, or whatever. And it's just kind of, but at the same time, like the way the story is now with the current events, like I feel like it's kind of been put on the, like we've had a thing about Timey and Ratanovus, and that's where like probably one of the strongest mysteries from Heart of Thorns is. And now we've got this current event stuff with the White Mantle, the raids dealing with that, and potentially going to the Bloodstone or something. It's kind of like, well, we've not had any clues or mentions of the egg, like not properly, apart from the article like that came out on MMOIRPG and the other website. But we've not had like an official thing being like, I think there was maybe one blog post on the, like done by ArenaNet that mentioned, is it like gonna be friend or foe or something? But I don't know. I don't feel like the egg's really gonna play a big part in the first episode.
You know
like,
what? I don't know why, but I have the same feeling. I have a feeling that we're hardly gonna even deal with the egg in the first episode. I don't know why, but I have this feeling that we're like Keith says, everything's cool. It's just glowing brighter. And that's it. Like we might find out more information about it, but I really have this feeling that we're not going to go there. We're not going to check on it. It's not going to hatch.
It's going to work like a TV show, isn't it? You know, when you get a cliffhanger at the end of an episode or of a season, and then the next episode or next season starts somewhere completely different and doesn't address it at all. You're just like,
waiting for them. But,
I think Keith betrays us.
I think she does.
Really?
Yeah, she betrays us.
I'm very
Something
unsure
to do with the egg
about
again.
Keith.
Her new wild hunt, whatever she is
She
determined
steals it
that
again
to be.
and starts
I
running.
don't know whether she steals the egg or something, but I have this feeling that her new wild hunt is going to involve the egg again, and she's going to betray us.
Google Tart players have to walk 1 billion miles before it hatches.
Yeah. No waypoints.
I would walk 500 miles.
That's where to stop. But so like yeah, just I have the same feeling, and I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. Maybe it's just because all of the material or hints that we've had so far just haven't really focused on the egg too much, apart from that one scene in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know, where you see that beam of light come up, but.
Because obviously that is very important, and I think it more reestablishes the fact that the ley lines, because they're putting the story so much towards the ley line energy, like everything has been talking about the ley energy and how it's, you know, I mean the picture in the couple seconds of new footage that we got in the trailer shows pretty sure that's ley energy that just like exploded like a bomb. And that's another topic.
There's further confirmation that ley energy, like, you know, magic is not just magic. Ley energy is not just ley energy. Timey makes this observation that it seems to be alive, or it seems to have this ebb and flow to it, that it sort of moves in a particular way, which sort of links us to the current events on how when this ley energy coalesces in a particular spot, it forms... life forms or energies or something, right? Of varying degrees. So
it's alive.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that they're going down that route, because the whole kind of concept of natural energy is kind of very Mother Earth Gaia type stuff.
Yep.
And I think a lot of that, even though I think that the main part of their story is done in Guild Wars 2, I think that can still link back to the natural magic that the Sylvari have.
I think what we'll find out eventually is that the dragons were sort of this safety plug to not allow the magic to coalesce and gather up in one spot too much, because it has dangerous effects. So by the magic, so by the dragons eating this magic, consuming this magic, and then going to sleep and slowly releasing it over time, it's less dangerous to the planet as a whole. Unfortunately, the dragons are not, you know, they're forces of nature. So they wake up and they just Godzilla everything and eat all the magic and destroy anything in their path. So
yeah, it's not a perfect solution, but
I like the idea though, and I if the story goes more in that way, it would tie back into the whole balance thing, and maybe we shouldn't kill the dragons thing, and if you think about it, humans are illegal immigrants in Tyria. Donald Trump would have something to say about it. Gonna build a wall.
Yeah, make Tyria great again.
The Char broke it down.
Yeah.
They tried that. Didn't go so well.
The Great Trump Wall.
my hope for this image that we got of the ley line explosion, my hope for it is that this is we know that we've seen the maps of like the massive buildup, the hubs of ley line energy, and there's just massive like concentrations of that energy. My hope is that one of them explodes, and because of the magic that was put back from when we killed Mordremoth, one of them at an inconsequential place, not Lion's Arch, I mean, maybe it affects somewhere we know, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna blow up Lion's Arch.
No.
I think that this is, because if you look at the image, it actually looks like it's over water. It looks like this explosion it's somewhere near water, and my hope is that I'm trying to bring up the image here for you guys to see on stream.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere in... No, I hope this is not the Fractal. I don't want this to be the Fractal.
No.
I want this to be in Tyria, in the world.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
I've seen a lot of people talk about, like, oh, it's definitely the Fractal, right? It's blue, so it's the mists and all this stuff. Like, the whole of the thing was a recap of the Hearthorn story. Right, the whole thing was a recap of the Hearthorn story, and then they show us this 5 seconds of new footage. They're not just gonna show like footage from basically a different game mode. Like, people can say it's the Fractal, fine. I just think it's unlikely. The whole thing was a trailer for season 3. Yeah. Like, the story of Hearthorns was used as like, you know, it was a recap. it would be it'd be like the same thing as if they'd shown random footage from PvP right at the end for 5 seconds for no reason. I think it
would
has. I think it has to be from the main story, and maybe
because that's
something
what the
happens.
trailer was about the main story. Although
Like,
people are saying that the fractal is actually connected to the main story now. There's some tie-in.
Okay.
Well,
We're going
It's
crazy now.
I think
Alright.
I think we're going to be going north in season 3. Not Shiver Peaks north, but north of the Maguma jungle, because there's a big body of water to the north called the Lake of Janther. And in the original Guild Wars, you had to take this big Illuminati-confirmed pyramid called the Eye of Janther around abducting people for the Massat. And I think the Massat originated in the Isles of Janther anyway, as when they were an elder race. Hey, bud. So I think that's where we're going.
That'd be nice.
So maybe if I don't know, the White Mantle have somehow harnessed leyline energy, fed it into a particular point, and the explosion is Lazarus rising from the grave, and then he's all kind of like, it's going to be like the Statue of Liberty at the end of Ghostbusters 2.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it.
So, Peachy, where do you think it's happening at? Where is this explosion taking place?
I think that the explosion could be just out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. The rocks that you see are just some island, and it's just to show. It's like a wake-up call. It's saying if you release more magic by killing more dragons, you're going to have more of these explosions, and they're going to happen closer to home in these big lay hubs. We know there's a giant lay hub below Lion's Arch, so that's what I think it is. No. There's not who says there's a lay hub beneath Cantha? No.
Cantha.
I will tell you my fear though. My fear is that the pack ship that we see, and sorry for the dogs, the pack ship that we see is a pack ship that we gave the Zephyrite so that they could go back home, and they make a stop. And they make a stop at the Labyrinthine Cliffs, and that's the Labyrinthine Cliffs exploding and destroying the last of the Zephyrite. ArenaNet, I will quit. I will quit. I will uninstall.
Zephyrite.
You will never see me again.
I guess it's one way to fight up that story thread, isn't it? Just kill them all. Yeah.
The Zephyrite are a lot like the Pact now. They're forgotten and thrown all over the wastes or whatever. You'll be homeless forever.
Yeah.
But what do you think it is, Inks?
Though this really ties into the fractal that they talk about, the Chaos Isles. I really do believe that this is and I know the airship is kind of odd, but I really do believe that this is the fractal that we're seeing. For a couple of reasons. We know that this mysterious Asura somehow controls the fractals. He's able to control the magic that's within the fractals. He can control the Isles. There's a whole conversation to be had, I think, about what the Chaos Isles really are, because this is a singular fractal that takes elements from existing fractals. So it sort of has this idea of a bunch of islands, right? It's the Isles, so it's not a singular island, obviously. And each island has elements or snippets in time or snippets in fractals from previously existing fractals. So you'll have a volcanic island, and you'll have a dredge island, and et cetera, et cetera.
That doesn't excite me at all. It feels
really?
like a way
I think that's super exciting.
No, it's like, oh, we'll just mix random things together. You know, kind of like how the old fractals were randomized. It feels like maybe it'll just be something like that. Like it's just a system to... I don't know. It just doesn't sound that good to me.
Yeah, if I can probably see it being a fractal, but if it is, I will be kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean,
the entire area, if you look around the area that's blowing up and stuff, it looks a lot like the mists. It looks a lot like sort of the fractal, unstable fractal environment. There's a deeper story here, too. So we know that there's going to be a fractal story. The start, but not the complete arc of a story that starts with Out of the Shadows, that runs parallel to Living World Season 3. So the story is going to run parallel. So things that are happening within the themes that are happening within the Fractal are going to be happening within Living World Season 3 as well. So this theme of unstable magic, this theme of magic that ties to this mysterious Asura, which ties directly to Dessa, who is guiding us into the Chaos Isles, guiding us on this trip to discover how he controls, and we know it's a he, how he controls these things. This all comes back to the Raving Asura from the Harpy Fractal, from the Unstable Fractal, who you don't actually kill. When you complete that Fractal, he flees off, he runs away. You kill his cat golems, but not him. And if you have the Dreamer, which is a collection, the legendary collection for the Dreamer, one of the steps is when you kill him, you pick up a letter to Dessa. And when you go hand the letter to Dessa in, it actually gives you Dessa's sadness. So Dessa has a boyfriend, or she had a boyfriend who was part of the consortium and was lost. We don't really know exactly what happened to him, but I think that the Raving Asura is probably her lost boyfriend, who has gone mad with whatever power, the fractals, etc. And the story is going to involve tracking him through the Chaos Isles, the Chaos Isle fractals, experiencing several different elements of these islands, and I don't know. We'll see where the story kind of goes from there, right? But I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I really love the Death storyline and
It's
everything
really
that's going there.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe
it
both are
could
right.
tie
Maybe
in.
it is. Maybe it looks like that because maybe we're going to the mists or something, or maybe there's a lot of things that could tie into this kind of thing. Ritlock was there, maybe something with Lazarus and the kind of need to ascend, or maybe we just need some kind of guidance. The trailer does mention that people we've lost, but also people that would be coming back to us or something. There's like a line that implies something. Maybe we go see someone that's dead in the mists or something somehow, and that's why it looks like the mists quite a lot.
I just think
I don't know. I would be
just think
disappointed if
it's
it was
just
the
residual explosion. I don't think it's the mist.
It's just, it's just an explosion. I don't know.
Find out. We'll find out
In
2 weeks.
2 weeks' time.
Weeks.
It's interesting that they we're getting a Living World story, which is really cool. We're getting a Fractal story. We're getting the beginning of a Fractal story, and it runs parallel to Living World Season 3, which is really cool. And I can't wait to see how those two themes run parallel to each other. What themes are they going to be highlighting in both places that tell a story on both sides? We've had sort of story before from the Fractals where Scarlet, of all people, I know, but she goes in and she talks about the Inquest and how they messed up and they thought that they were playing with chaos magic when really it was dragon magic, and they lose control, and of course it spawns that anomaly which blows the hell out of everything and causes all sorts of problems that exist still today. So it should be interesting. I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
One of them better explain what a revenant is about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that we're going to get that exactly.
I don't think we are.
I wish.
There was something that I asked Izzy last year, and I thought it would have been really cool that revenants have their own starting area. Or you're in
the mists.
Maybe in the mist, like you do the initial something starting area for your race, but you die at the end, and then you come back as a revenant and you get pulled out of the mists. And I thought that would have been really, really cool.
That would have been cool.
And Izzy was just nah. But he said they were focusing on the personal racial story rather than the classes, which makes sense. Yeah. So fair enough. But yeah, I do want to see kind of. I want to find out what happens to the revenants, and if Inks is right, and that we go to the mists and fractals, a little bit of revenant story in there. Or
just see what Ritlock did. Maybe
it's certainly the right place to do it, I think.
The entire party becomes revenants.
Yeah.
Just all revenants.
Well, they've had that thing where the entire party becomes dolphins for 5 minutes, which is
Yeah, or Char.
So that's the thing. If we go into the mists, it's like anything can happen, and it gets so complicated. There's so
all turn
many
into
base
Britlock.
real world stories that we got to deal with. And if we're off trancing in the mists, what about the ley lines? What about the dragons? What about like, are we just gonna forget all that all of a sudden and go into
No.
like?
But that's the point. That's the beauty of it, right? Because you play. Let's say, okay, I'm gonna wait on fractals, depending on what kind of player you are. You're gonna play Living World Season 3, Episode 1, whatever they call it. You're gonna play Out of the Shadows first. And you're going to go through all the chapters, and you're going to come to some sort of conclusion. There's going to be some sort of underlining theme that starts to develop within the story, and then you're going to go play the fractals, and you're going to be able to draw parallels to what's happening in the fractals as compared to what's happening in Living Story 3. It's not necessarily that they connect; it's that they're parallel to one another.
Yeah.
They have similar themes that run throughout both, telling a different story, perhaps, but the underlining theme is sort of the same. And that's pretty cool, right? Because that's like double story. That's a double, it's extra story content.
Which is good because we know this. There's a lot of fate. The fate of a lot of players, I think, is riding on this first episode to be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got to be good. It's got to be jam packed with lore and gameplay and content
It's got to be. It's got to be good. Well, I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm sure it's going to be good.
Oh, absolutely! I have a ton of faith.
I've taken a step. I've taken a step back from Guild Wars 2 for a couple of months, just to kind of let the embers kind of smolder a little bit, and then, with the bellows of hype, reigniting the flames, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I think it's the same with everyone. I think people have taken that. They're playing other games. Even content creators are kind of focusing themselves elsewhere. And I think it's a good thing to do. I think, when you're in a content drought, if you're just trying to play that game, you're just going to get more and more angry at it and frustrated or unhappy with that. You need to kind of chill and just do other stuff and have some fun. And now, like, the hype's coming back, and you can see it, in the community as well. People are looking forward to. But at the same time, like you were saying, there's a lot riding on it. People are gonna determine how much Guild Wars 2 they ever play again off this first episode, really. So but for me, that's not like a scary thing. It's kind of exciting because I think ArenaNet are aware of that, and I definitely believe they can deliver on it. As long as they've been listening. So
I suppose I should thank ArenaNet as well, because I finally got time to finish the damn Witcher.
Yes.
So thank you, ArenaNet.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I do mean that. Oh God, no, Jesus! Come on.
Man.
I've still got the 2 expansions to do.
Well, the best story is still to come. Then.
I know the best one's supposed to be Hearts of Stone, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's not Guild Wars 2. That's not Guild Wars 2. There are no games aside from Guild Wars 2.
Too much of a good thing cannot be a bad thing. So I don't think a hiatus is bad. And like you said, taking a little break from it. I mean, I think we all have. It's died down a little bit, but then I know, yesterday the announcement, the new pictures, the new blog post, the new information. I mean, the tiny information and blog post today. I mean, like, I'm getting hyped again. Like I said, like my live stream yesterday, like we took those 5 seconds of new footage and talked for an hour about Guild Wars lore. And it was like, I said at the end of it, I said, I've missed this, man.
Yeah.
Like I've missed this so much. And it's all going to be just hyped up even more in 2 weeks. So I'm excited. And if they keep giving us these little story hints, these little blog posts, these little, even if they're just little timey journals about things, because she can find out, like I said, anything can come out of ArenaNet. And I mean, that's so exciting.
We've not even had any, and this is kind of like I've disagreed very strongly with ArenaNet's kind of communication policy over the past few months. This whole like insistence on we're only going to tell you when it's finished. It just leaves everyone in the dark, and I think it's been really damaging. But when we're this close, I'm excited about the fact that we don't know if we're even going to get a new map or. Of any kind of details about any other changes that might be coming. And if that trailer that we got, like that, I think built hype enough to make people curious. I would be happy if we didn't get a guild chat, if we didn't get any kind of more information. Maybe we've got more of these short stories just to build hype. But I kind of like the fact that we've got 2 weeks and we don't know anything. Because on patch day, the whole day, because for us it comes out like 6 p.m. The whole day I'm gonna be excited as hell to see what the episode's gonna have and what other things are gonna be updated, and that's cool. I wish we'd got some kind of more information.
We might next
in
week.
the past few months.
Right.
I mean, we got a dissertation on the Exalted before Heart of Thorns came out.
Yeah,
So
that was damaging in its own way.
Yeah.
But like, just anything would have been cool, and I hope that they don't. Maybe that's why it's called Out of the Shadows, you know, because we're actually gonna know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
What will really be telling, the most important thing, story is important, don't get me wrong, and it's going to be enjoyable, but you're going to consume it, and then that'll be that, and then you'll be waiting 2 or 3 months for more story.
Yeah, that's my fear.
What and where is the replayability of this patch? That's going to be the real question. We don't know that yet.
Mastery.
We don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly a new map with a new meta event or something, and that will consume time up. The Fractal will add a little bit of replayability, but after you do it 3 or 4 times, I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
They did talk about, so that we haven't touched on, is a new PvP map. But again, it's one of these things where, you know, you play the map a couple dozen times, you sort of master it or whatever, and then that's, you know what I mean? That's not 2 or 3 months worth of entertainment necessarily. So we haven't seen what the real replayability is just yet. Sure, there's going to be, you play the story a second time and you do your achievements, because that's always a thing. Possibly it'll unlock, my guess would be only 1 or 2 of the legendary armor collection thing. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, with me, my main focus has always been on the story. It's like my favorite thing in the whole game, and any new stuff in that kind of field is like, I don't know, it's so good. But at the same time, the achievements have never been a super strong incentive for me to replay stuff. I preferred like the old meta thing where there was an actual reward after you do the achievement, as opposed to just an ascended trinket, like a back piece or something, you know, just something a bit more meaningful. Or interesting. But yeah, my fear is that I'll blast through the story in like an hour, 45 minutes or something, and then that sinking feeling of, oh no, I've got to wait, you know, 3 months for something else.
I think you're going to be able to do it easily in a day, but it's not going to be like an hour. It's got to be more than that. And like you said, if there's multiple facets to it, like fractals, you know, you do the actual season 3, episode 1, and then you have the fractal story content.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's so good about adding a new map. It adds this whole extra layer. I mean, it's basically going to be a quarter of Heart of Thorns in one update that's free. You know, with a new map and a new hour of story, or maybe 2 hours or something. Let's say go back to
the Silver Waste. I really don't think they would.
No, 3 months to get.
I love the Silver Waste.
Of a map.
I don't think they will.
Waste is fine, but there's like half of season 2 in there.
Yeah.
There's like
I want something a bit more along the lines of, well, I don't know, like a Heart of Thorns map kind of size with the kind of detail that they have, but maybe less of a strict meta event, more of that kind of exploration.
I don't want another map-wide meta event. Like we've got 6 of them. That works for me.
I really don't either. But if there's a new map, I would be surprised if there wasn't some sort of map-wide meta
There'll
event.
be something. I think they need to be a bit more welcoming and give us that kind of sense of exploration like the older maps.
Well, they've learned from Heart of Thorns since it launched. They've made the meta events, you know, less strict, and you can access more parts of the map while the meta event is going on. It's not perfect, but I think they've learned from it. So even if there is a map-wide meta event, I think it'll be a little bit more open. Like, to me, Silver Waste seems like a really good balance. It's really fun just to run around in there. You're still doing your part, even if you're not doing a very specific job. I don't know. I like it. I think they've learned.
Do you think we'll get new masteries
I hope we
I'd be
just get.
surprised if it didn't.
Yeah.
But what could they possibly add? That's
don't
the
think
thing
so.
I'm thinking of.
Maybe
maybe
like
there's a
one,
different
kind of
type
like
of
how the
mushroom
each
you
raid
can
wing
interact
added one thing. Maybe there will be like a map. Like if there's a new map, something to give you an advantage on that map, even if it's finding hidden chests or something. I think there will be.
Yeah. Kind of boring.
Not an
but
entire
yeah.
track, just like one single mastery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then if people are supposed to be playing it for like 3 months, they
Yeah.
could probably add a decent amount of grind in that.
Hmm.
And maybe that's how they'll extend some of the story
ArenaNet don't
too.
make
if there's-
grindy games, Corvus.
Oh yeah, I forgot. No, but maybe they'll be like, maybe half of the story will be locked out until you get a mastery for something too. Kind of like how they drew out the length of Heartthorns by adding mastery gates. They could.
Yeah.
That'd be a tactic I wouldn't be surprised to see there. And to be
Yeah.
honest, if the mastery was interesting, I wouldn't mind too much. Heartthorns never really bothered me with the mastery stuff.
We also haven't heard about World vs. World. I imagine they'll be doing some
Mm.
changes, additions.
Yeah.
The other thing that we haven't even talked about is I'm sure there's going to be a balance patch as well with this Living World story. So
Ah.
There wasn't one the other day.
right, so balances will be changing. Here's the other thing too. Not only are we getting a new PvP map, we'll probably get Season 4 in late August or September. They usually take a month off, right? So it ended in July. So whatever that timetable works out to. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
Stuff to do for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna.
I
It's
just
gonna
hope
bring
the real
them back.
sticking glue, the real glue will be replayability after the story is done.
Yep.
Plenty of people,
Yeah.
New weapons,
I do believe
new
that
armor,
plenty of
maybe.
people will come back to play the story, to experience the story, at least take a look at it,
Mhm.
but you need to glue them back in. You need to cement them back into the game. And
Mhm.
Well, that's, I
you
think
need
that's
to have
why
something playable.
an interesting mastery line I think would do that really well if there was this really cool thing at the end, maybe a new type of gliding or anything, just something, that people are gonna want, and then they've got, there's a reason to play more. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do another kind of Silverway style new armor set that you have to get currency for or something. I mean, I'm not gonna complain at new armor, but I don't know. Maybe they could do some other cool things. We'll see.
Legendary armor. They're gonna let me finish legendary armor. I already know the answer to that, but
You can dream, right?
there ain't no way. There ain't no way.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll be 3 or 4 episodes in before we're allowed to finish legendary armor.
Mm. I wouldn't be surprised.
But with no confirmations, all we can do is speculate. I mean, maybe we won't even get a new map. Maybe it'll just be like a 10-minute episode,
That
just
would
an
be kinda-
epilogue.
And that would be crazy to me. That would be kind of crazy to me if we don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible we don't, but
They'd have to do
then
something
where's the
else that's crazy
replayability?
interesting.
Right.
Where's the
There,
replayability?
there
Where's
has
the
to-
new map gonna take us? Because I think pretty much every story kind of thing we have
Banditland.
now, aside from the Bloodstone, it's all
Right.
taking place in the same maps that we have already.
Well, where is this Bloodstone deep within the Maguma jungle, right? This is an area that we don't know about.
Maybe
Well,
we
it's
go
all
west,
leading us
the
north.
coast
That's
that
where
we
the
just said.
Forsaken Thicket
Yeah.
is. So I think we're
Yeah,
just
Isle
going to
of
go further
Janethier
north.
is up there too.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get a new map, where is the new map going to be?
I think it's going to be Isles of Janethier.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
it will.
north.
Way,
But
way,
that's-
way up.
But
north?
that's way north.
Uh,
We'd need to
or
build
at least-
our way up.
At least on the way to the Isles
On the way
of
to
Janethier.
it. Maybe at the
Yeah.
end, by the end of season 3, we get actually to the Isles.
You kind of get to the coast, and
north of Brisbane, kind of.
then you can
I think
unlock
that's
fishing.
most likely because all
Might
of the
be
bandit
nice.
activity has been circling around that area, kind of north.
Closer to
of
Kryda.
Yeah, and
Blown out
Divinity's
the
Reach.
there on the
Right.
porthole, etc. Yeah.
I think that's probably the most likely thing. It's a nice
The
change
desert.
of pace from the jungle.
I kind
but
of hope it's
still
not a
relevant
desert
to the
map.
story. I don't want desert,
Yeah,
and I don't
no.
want friggin' jungle.
Blood dry tops. Yeah, there's.
You're
so
going to
there's
get
this-
one
there's
of the
these
two.
section- There's these section of the maps that's kind of interesting. And now, if we ever do get back to Timey and Radanovus and possibly Radanovus 2, like wherever they fled to, that could be this little section, this smaller section of the map that's below the Silver Waste and and such,
that
or below
kind of
dry
place
top.
above
we're saying.
Ratasum kind of.
Yeah, that's a point.
So I don't know. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, both of those places are pretty interesting.
Mm.
We'll see.
I'm
Something,
excited.
something else that Corvus mentioned briefly here about the episodes being free. But we do have confirmation that not only do you have to have Heart of Thorns, but you have to log in to unlock it. If you don't log in before the next episode releases, you have to then later, you have to purchase it.
You got like 3 months.
You've got like
you got
3
3
months.
months to
You
log
have
in.
2 to 3
Jesus.
months to log in.
Just log in one time real quick, bank your episode.
Yeah, you don't even
if
have
you
to play it.
Right. Even if you don't own Heart of Thorns,
Right.
you can still bank the episode.
Right.
It's just that if you want to play the episode, you have to buy Heart of Thorns. That's
Using
how it
And
one
you
of
have
Right.
to have a level 80. And you have to
It's
have
level 80
as well.
content, yeah.
But if you buy Heart of Thorns
With
buy
one of
Heart
our
Thorns
referrals.
now,
Hey! You beat me to it.
you get a free level 80.
It's our gift to you.
Shameless shills. Too funny.
But yeah, I think that's fair, personally. I would have been like cool with it either way. Like, it's supposed to be a feature of Heart of Thorns, this Living World Season 3, and we already purchased Heart of Thorns, so you should get Living World Season 3. But I really think the main thing with this is, to be honest, I think it's ArenaNet's way to keep people with keep the game installed on people's computers.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
even if you have 2 to 3 months to log in, but you're not going to uninstall the game if you have to reinstall it every couple months. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
whereas if you got it automatically without logging in, people install the game, play through the expansion content in a couple days, uninstall, and then when the next expansion comes out, I'll reinstall and play the entirety of Living World Season 3. And of course, that's not good for ANET, so.
That hurts my brain so much. Uninstalling, reinstalling, install.
I know, right?
I like uninstall nothing. I have games on my computer that are like a billion years old. I don't know. And it's not like I have a ton of storage, but I don't uninstall things. I might not ever play them again, but they're still sitting there. I think Age of Empires is still on my desktop. I haven't played that in
Heck
4
yes.
years.
Is it Age of Empires HD?
No. It's like
It's got the
super
original Age of
old
Empires.
Age of
Dude.
Empires still has Pong. That's right. I still have Pong on my PC. Damn it! I only delete characters, not programs. That's exactly right. It's kind of a weird thing, right? Yeah, I don't delete programs. I don't know what it is. I don't uninstall things unless
Well,
I
if you
really
don't
really
need the
need
space, then there's really no need to. Yeah.
to. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, dear. Hey, Fitz.
But yeah, oh, right, chat's reminding me, Atomic says the Living Story Season 2 is on sale for 40% off currently, and I believe it's going to be on sale until the 26th. So if you
So
haven't
that-
played Season 2...
It'll be like $10-15 or something.
Yeah.
Well
that's-
worth it.
Like
Well
12.
worth
Season 2 is great. I loved Season 2.
Oh yeah, season 2 is
It's jam-packed.
friggin' brilliant. In one setting, it's like so good. It's just like really in depth and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And starting on Friday, the ArenaNet partners are going to be streaming 1 episode a day of Living World Season 2 in all languages. Well, not all languages, but...
That's right. I will attempt to
Scottish.
speak all languages.
Inks is going to be speaking
I don't know.
Chinese.
I don't know anything but English, but whatever.
I'm going to be
Make
doing
it
mine.
work.
I'm going to be doing mine in Scottish. Hello there, and welcome to
Jesus
Guild Wars 2
Christ.
Heart of Thorns. We're doing Tangle Paths today with a
this is
side
why we
order
want
of heroin and
independence, Alex.
battered Mars bar.
This is why I put independence. Oh my gosh.
So if you guys get independence, I'm selling up and moving north, man. I'm coming
fair
with
enough.
you.
You can come live with me. It's alright, dude. I have a big bed.
I actually need to play through my episode because it's been a long time since I played through that episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I'm just happy because I got my favorite one. I got Entanglement, episode 2. I'm like, I want that one
I
because that's my favorite.
I can
have
have a look actually, see what we've
I
got.
have the Dragon's Reach Part 1.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
it's an easy one, but a long one, as it were.
There we go.
Krell asks, will the streamers be bringing company and/or doing achievements? I think they can. The main thing is just playing the episode, showing you the lore, showing you the episode, replaying it. You know, kind of a reminder of what the story is, because that's the whole point. Is a reminder of what the story is. If someone does more than that with it, then that's their choice.
I'd say I would, but I already have all the achievements, so.
Oh my god.
I still don't. I don't have any luminescent armor.
Make a new account, Alex.
No.
Okay.
Make a new account, level it up, buy the story, play the story.
Don't wanna. Yeah, I've got episode 6, which is Tangled Paths, which isn't my least favorite. So
Which one's that? What happens in that one?
It's the one with the maze. It's
Well,
the
you
one
have
with
no, don't tell them. You gotta tune in to find out.
Spoilers.
Oh, good.
Well, Corvus, if you don't remember which episode that is, then tune in on July.
And maybe I'll use one of your referral links.
I'm actually trying to think back. The Dragons. What is it called again? The Dragon's Reach Part 1.
Yeah, it's spoiler, Belinda dies in that one.
Oh, fantastic!
Great.
Aww.
Yeah, and it's like the Concordia incident, and then
Because it was part 2 that was the mid-season break, right?
Yeah,
with
that's
Ritlock and the Mist. or
Oh,
something
yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
Oh yeah, part 1 you have to fight. Don't you have to fight the Baradin statue again as well?
Or was that part 2? You have to do that.
I can't remember.
I can't
That's
remember.
part
We'll
1.
find out
'cause
on Sunday.
I'm pretty sure Ritlock's in that one, fighting the Baradin statue. Yeah, because it's right after you defeat that statue that the rift opens. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it
you're in
is,
that
yeah.
same room. Yeah. So I think that's part 2, right?
I'll be playing Revenant, so everything will be easy. And
Okay, Well, just any elite
Playing
spec, really.
Revenant in season 2. So meta.
You'll be a Revenant before Ritlock even was one.
That's right. I am your future, Ritlock. I am your future.
Excited.
But yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got German, French, Spanish, and English, pretty much all the way through.
Yep.
Yeah. So Inks is episode 3 on July the 17th. Peachy, you are on July the 15th with Omega Burger playing the first one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bogart will be hosting it. I'll be playing along.
And then AuroraPeachy
And
is
I will be on the 16th.
yeah.
Episode 2.
Corvus, are you doing one?
Nope.
Learn to play, mate. Learn to play.
I've already done everything.
He'll be
dude.
watching all of them. He's the supervisor.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. Monitoring.
Doesn't
you.
even remember which episode Tangled.
I actually work
passes.
for ArenaNet, dude. I actually work for ArenaNet. I'm just
Yeah, just
scouting you guys, making sure you're all in line.
Oh boy.
All right. We are going to wrap up the show there, but please stay tuned if you're watching live on Twitch for the post show. You can ask questions, we'll goof off, have fun, maybe talk about Pokemon, who knows. And for everybody watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. And tune in next time we have a GuildGab, whenever that is. I'm not going to say next week because I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
not. We'll see.
Maybe.
Maybe not. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.